This is the walkthrough video for PCTC 2022 Round 1 Senior, question 8, again with altitude. Okay, so someone is keeping track of their hike, and she wants to know essentially how much she walked up and how much she walked down. So the first thing we need to do is look at the input. So what we need first, we're always going to input the number of minutes that she walks for. So let's say time is going to be equal to our first input. And then the question says the next input after that is always going to be her initial altitude. So let's also keep track of that. And I'm actually going to keep this stored as a variable called prev. So that just means previous. And we'll see why. Okay, and now we need a loop. So the amount of inputs we're going to get after that is equal to the amount of time she spent walking. Let's have a loop that runs through the amount of time that we inputted initially. And this is where we can put our logic. Okay, so we need to keep track of the total ascent and the total descent. So let's create variables to store that. A for ascent, D for descent, they both start at 0. And now, in our loop, every time we input something, we need to check if it's gone up or gone down since the previous measurement. Okay, so let's just call it new. It's going to be equal to our new input. And if this new measurement is bigger than the previous one, that means Georgia has ascended, and therefore we need to increase A by the amount she has ascended, which is just going to be equal to U minus prev. And if it isn't bigger, if the new one isn't bigger than prev, then that means she must have descended. And so let's increase descend, so D, by the bigger value, which is going to be prev, minus a smaller value, which is going to be new. So this just calculates how much she's descended by and adds that D. And finally, we need to update prev. So the previous is going to now be equal to the latest measurement we just inputted. And this whole for loop will just repeat itself until it's done. And finally, we can print the amount we ascended in total and the amount we descended in total. So the two variables A and D. And this gets us all 5 points, I hope. Yep.